Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our first Global Industry Spotlight of 2022. We hope everyone had a great holiday and is ready to start this year. I know there's so many things happening in the world, and we're just happy to be here, streaming live from 2112 Chicago and talking about things that we care about, right? Creative entrepreneurship, the creative industries, music innovation. How are people, transforming business, transforming art to work for the industry? These are all kind of things that we're going to be focusing on this year, talking with specialists, organizations, entrepreneurs, and people who are really focused on helping the industry and pushing it forward, sometimes uncomfortably, depending on who you're talking to. So, today we're going to be talking to Turo Pekari. Turo is a music innovation specialist and creative technologist based in Helsinki, Finland. He's also the co-founder of the European Music Innovation Network, Music Tech Europe, and he currently leads innovation, international operations, and insights at Music Finland. Music Finland's clientele compromises the entire Finnish music industry, spanning across all genres and sectors. They help their clients to establish connections, present their music, and grow their audiences and businesses in the international market and facilitate information about Finnish music and the industry. I was fortunate to connect with Toro a couple of weeks ago or a month ago. I don't really know, but we had a nice conversation. He's definitely somebody, that I talked to, I talked to his colleagues, and everyone said, you got to talk to this guy. He's the guy to talk to in terms of, music innovation in Europe and some of the things that are happening right now. So let's bring him into the conversation. Hi, Toro. How are you? Oh, your mic is muted.
Hello. All good. Thanks. Nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. I gave a kind of a little short introduction about who you are, but can you just talk a little bit about your current work and what you're doing right now?
Yeah, sure. Like Daniel mentioned, I'm currently working for Music Finland, which is the Finnish music export office, and my role there is innovation and business development executive. And of course, in my role, I'm kind of overseeing all our international operations and including all of the work that we are doing for our clients, which include all of the traditional music industry players like labels, publishers, management agencies, festivals, promoters, performing rights organizations, and companies like that. One reason why I started to work for Music Finland last year is that I'm also trying to build a kind of new export strand also for music and tech. And in my previous life, I've been working for many years collaborating with music tech companies and startups and trying to help them create collaboration and business with music industry players. And this is what I'm now trying to also give birth at Music Finland. And I think organization like us is in a perfect role to make that flourish more here in Finland and also internationally, which is why I also collaborate a lot with different international players who are pretty much trying to do the same thing as me and solve these problems basically with the fact that it's not easy to build collaboration with music industry and companies from the tech field. And why it's like that is that music industry companies are super slow compared to the fast pace which is in the startup business, and we just need to make them understand better how they manage their businesses in order to build collaboration and of course build new business for both of them.
Yeah, this is great. That's a great way to kind of jump off into our conversation. So, so from what I'm hearing you say is you have this kind of maybe archaic or older music industry system that it is not kind of level with the way that technology is moving and in that direction. Can you talk about? I just want to talk about innovation in general. Can you talk about some of the music innovation that you think is really important for the industry that has worked and has helped? And second point being, what is the innovation that you are excited about, or the future that you feel like is going to impact and grow the sector?
If we think about examples of innovation which has worked well for the music industry, it's definitely in machine learning and algorithms. If we think about the way we are now able to market and promote content and also recommend content to audiences, it's totally different game than it was 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. That's probably the best example of something super successful which has happened and which has also helped a lot the industry. We often think that innovation is something destructive for old business players, and it shouldn't be like that. I think for many years it's been a problem that people are too happy with the way the business is going currently, and it's often seen as a risk to try new things. And what that actually means is that it's often the newcomers who are coming up with new things. If we think about how, for example, music streaming became the main way of music consumption, it was definitely not anything that the labels wanted. But if we think about what's happening today, I think they are probably quite happy with the situation, and it's their biggest source of revenue now.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of musicians talk about this, that the labels have been able to now turn the streaming into a big revenue generator. So there is a lot of revenue coming out of streaming, but it is focused to a certain percentage of artists or label artists, and that majority of other people maybe who aren't major label players are not able to really make a sustainable income from streaming,
Yeah.
in general. And then with touring being taken away because of COVID, there's been, I have noticed there's kind of been a focus a lot on fandom as another way of revenue, of fans getting more involved with musicians, in terms of asking them about a 3-bar loop, or fun kind of things to engage the audience, and that a fan would pay for. Can you talk a little bit about some of the innovation that you think, the new players, the things that are exciting, in your field, that are happening right now?
Yeah, you mentioned fan engagement. I think that's a super interesting topic, and it's been playing a big role now, especially during the pandemic. Why I think this is kind of a problematic time is that COVID has meant for many in our business basically a fight for survival, and at the same time when the speed of innovation in our business has been super fast, and I'm quite sure that the post-COVID world will not be the same anymore. Is when people are trying to get food on the table, and at the same time they should be looking for new opportunities. It's very difficult mix of actions, and I think first probably with people trying to develop new stuff, for example, with live streaming, that created the first wave with the possibility to engage more directly with the fans. But still, I think for most of the people, that's not a way to make any money. And we are still trying to figure out how live streaming could actually be something that people could make living with. It's definitely not anything like live music, and probably the biggest thing behind it is for artists and creatives to think about how live streaming can actually be something unique and different, not just trying to mimic a traditional live show. And of course, that's the way where fan engagement and interaction between artists and fans comes to the table, and it plays a super crucial role in that. But I think it's not just performance. If we think about one of the big topics, decentralization, what that means also is that people can interact with the artists or musicians they love in different ways and support them. That's something what, for example, is possible to do with NFTs. I personally think that the idea about non-fungible tokens as just digital collectibles is not so useful. Of course, there's always a number of super fans who like to own something special and unique. But when we think about an idea that, for example, a fan can support the music or an artist he or she loves, buying an NFT and perhaps not just getting an ownership of a song or something like that, but supporting studio production or getting special access to live shows or creating some kind of fan club out of it. It's becoming much more interesting, and I really think that we're going to see much more things like that coming out from the current NFT hype.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me because I remember reading a quote from Spotify guy saying, the artists need to be pushing out more content, more music, right? And as a musician and somebody that has put out records himself, putting out a record takes a lot of time. If you're doing it, the right way, you're not doing like a bedroom record. You're going to a studio, you're mixing things, you're spending time on this piece of music, right? And streaming in one regard, um, has kind of devalued that process, right? It's like in one way you should just be putting out more and more music. Obviously, it should be good music, and spend the time to make good music. But my connection with the NFT is that the value, like the value of a piece of art versus the value of a piece of music, right? So a piece of art, someone could put it a fancy art show and say, hey, this is worth whatever, $10,000, and it's a black stripe on a white sheet, and that's it, right? But music, for some reason, in my mind, has turned into kind of like almost like a fast food commodity, and it's there's not this value of people who have spent their lives creating it, and so for me it's the NFT, and I agree with you on that a lot too, that like the whole digital art thing seems a little it seems like it won't really work on a bigger scale. But I am fascinated with how do we push the value of music forward, because for me, in the pandemic, music's got me through, and lots of people through moments, right, of just kind of feeling struggled. Music is such a universal thing, and a healing thing, and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just curious your thought about that.
You went right to the point. Of course, the value of music is a is a crucial thing in the business, and I really think that music industry should learn a lot. For example, what's going on. For example, in film and TV. If we think about how much money people are willing to pay, for example, to go to the movies, it's basically double or even triple of what it was 15 years ago. But at the same time, when people are listening to music, it's basically free, even though you are paying some kind of subscription, and the worth of uh, uh, listening or experiencing one piece of music is very, very close to zero. And I even though it's very good for the user experience to have a kind of all access mode where you
Oh,
can
yeah.
listen to whatever you want, all the music in the world. I think that somebody made some bad decisions 20 years ago when this thing started to play a bigger role. And I think for the future it might look more positive, because it's probably a fact that more and more music is not just static audio tracks anymore. Music is becoming more and more audiovisual, and in the future, perhaps also not just something static, basically a track that you listen. When music is merged with different types of content, I think it has potentially more value, and that's probably what people should be looking for. Because also, if we think about how the music consumption is moving along at the moment, we're seeing that in all of the big markets, streaming is already a quite saturated space. So it's not growing anymore. Most of the people who want to listen to music from streaming services are already using them, and the younger generations are listening music from social video services like TikTok or Triller, and that's where the number of users is still growing very fast. And I think the next jump after social video services is probably somewhere in between gaming or new types of social medias, whether we want to call them metaverses or whatever.
Right.
But then I think we might see even new types of contents that can contain also music, which could be valued better than the music we are currently consuming.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that as well. That there's going to be that the audio visual component is really important right now, and it's cool to see when there's interesting collaborations between musicians and visual artists, and putting out kind of more of a collective piece than just purely music or just a purely a visual thing. So one thing I wanted to ask you about was European Music Innovation Network, Music Tech Europe. Can you talk about why you started it and kind of what purpose it serves for Europe?
Yeah, sure. Basically, it has taken a lot of time to make anything like that happen. But for a few years, uh, we've been having deep discussions with different people from all around Europe, who basically share this mission that uh, music industry needs more ideas outside the industry and from the technology sector as well. And that's the only way we can create new growth also for the music industry. And how it's done, it's done with collaboration. And there's so many good examples of great work from all around the Europe that's been done. But I think if everybody is trying to make it happen only in their only countries, it's probably not the best way to go, because I often believe that if you're trying to make something meaningful happen, you should be working hopefully with the best people in the world, not just with the best people in your country. And that's why we kind of wanted to create a network with different organizations or hubs who try to help both the music sector and the startup ecosystem to work better together. And all of these organizations are now also trying to build their common programs and initiatives to make that happen in a pan-European way instead of just nationally. And it's also very important for the European economy, because I think we are suffering a lot due to the fact that we are a group of 28 or whatever countries in the European Union, and we are not one big country like US. So even for the competitiveness, it's very crucial that we are able to work together more closely. And of course, the idea behind Music Tech Europe is that we see that we are going to build one of its kind ecosystems of music technology and innovation, develop programs and initiatives also to place music and technology into the spotlight in the debate and actions to improve European competitiveness. And we want to serve, of course, music tech startups, help them to go to market, give them mentoring and access and to investor networks and stuff like that. But the more interesting thing for me is basically the more experiential side, to create a kind of European lab where we could curate programs for specific needs coming from the music industry and match technology companies together with music industry players and explore and test and develop new things together. And eventually, I believe that this is something that will also get support from the European Commission. Another thing which is important in the work of Music Tech Europe is obviously education and knowledge, because I think especially for new companies in the field of music and tech, there's still a lack of knowledge how music industry works. So we definitely need to educate them to understand how the business works and how to discuss with music people to make things work more smoothly. And this is something which is already in the works. And actually, during the last year, Music Tech Europe Academy was already running with some of our partners. I was also involved in that as a mentor, and that was kind of the first step to make that happen. And it's one part of the work Music Tech Europe is doing, but it's definitely an important one as well.
Yeah, I love the idea of a bunch of music industry professionals, with a bunch of tech people, kind of working on solving the problem, right? Or working on some of the issues or some of the things together as a collective. That's important. And over here in the U.S. and the collaborative nature, always just everyone works better. Everyone's more successful when we can be collaborative. When we find new partners, we're grateful to be connected with you and some of your colleagues in Europe, and kind of hear about some of the new technologies that are coming out. What are people building? How are people creating education, like you talked about, to help people learn more about the industry? I think the music industry is funny in the sense that there's just a lot of kind of unknowns in terms of just common knowledge about it, and it's probably meant to be that way. So So it sounds like it's the work that you're doing is really important, and we appreciate you coming in today and sharing with me and sharing with us about kind of some of the things that you're doing. Just to kind of leave the conversation, is there anything, like one particular thing that you are excited about right now?
Uh, of course, there is. I think something which is super interesting at the moment is all of the discussion about Web3 and its implications in the music business. I think it's kind of fascinating to see that there's a lot of things which are changing really, really rapidly in other industries, and also in the consumer space. And I think the evolution of payments is one of the biggest things. And there's going to be more and more adoption, and at some point, even the music industry needs to adapt to that. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen when music professionals start to use more actively tokenized wallets and tokenized identity, and basically self-manage their business more and more, because that's much more easier already now, but we are still living the early days. And of course, if we think about decentralized internet, it's also quite a lot linked to what's happening in the metaverse space, which is kind of one way to describe what a Web3 world could look like. Of course, we often, when we are talking about the metaverse, it's kind of misused, because nowadays everything that used to be VR or gaming is now referred as metaverse. But I think the most exciting thing under the gaming like visual experience is the idea that you can represent your digital identity and do stuff in the internet, or in the virtual internet. You can create stuff, you can manage businesses, you can interact, you can communicate, and the most important thing, it should be done in an interoperable way. So metaverse is not just one big virtual island developed by Mark Zuckerberg. It's going to be many different islands, and you should be able to hop on from one to another with your digital identity and make very cool stuff all around. And that's where we are probably going from the current kind of decentralized internet. So I don't know, in a number of few years, we are not so much tied into app stores, basically because you can be your own app and interact with other apps, which are also managed by people themselves.
Right, right. Yeah, that is. I definitely feel like we're in the beginnings of a major change, and there's a lot of unknowns, and there's a lot of excitement around some of these things that are coming out. Well, Turo, thank you so much for joining us today on this Global Industry Spotlight. We appreciate hearing your insight and your experience and knowledge coming out of Europe. We hope to stay connected, and definitely feel like we're creating a network ourselves, with some great partners in Europe. So thanks again for joining us today for Global Industry Spotlight.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.
Excellent. All right, well, stick around in the green room. Well, there you have it, everyone. That's Turo from Music Finland, our first Global Industry Spotlight of 2022. Wonderful conversation. He has lots of interesting thoughts. All of these conversations that I'm having are on, we stream live to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and then we take the audio and we put it on Spotify. If there was any questions that you had for us or for Turo, please feel free to message me. and we can see if we can get those answered. Again, my name is Daniel Crane. I'm the program director of the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. Visit cceglobal.org. Check out what we're doing. We have events every week. We're currently building a CCE Academy and a career marketplace for the creative industries, with the focus being on how can we provide educational tools for people to learn and grow their business. Also, we're on all social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook. Give us a like. And next week, January 20th, we'll be talking with Rob Lindquist from Songfinch, which is a new startup, fairly new, but they're doing really well. They have a lot of interesting ideas and work, and definitely will be a great kind of transition into the music industry and what are some of the things that people are doing. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a great rest of the week, and we will talk with you soon. Take care.